Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Godfather Network podcast. And we're very excited because today we're bringing you a special guest with a great and relevant topic, especially now that we're starting the tax season. We're in 2025, and we have a special guest. And that guest is no other than our great friend, entrepreneur, and business leader, Ms. Jessenia Velasquez. So I'm going to bring her up to the stage, and we're going to go right into the topic. So I'm very excited about today's topic and today's special guest. So here with us is Ms. Jessenia. Jessenia, how are you, ma'am?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. You know, one of the things that I always say is that I'm always truly blessed and highly favored. And even so now that I have you as a special guest and an honor to have you in another episode of our podcast. So before we begin, we have a very, very interesting and relevant educational topic that relates to something that we all have to do at one point or another, especially right around this season. So today's topic is going to be related to taxes. Ms. Yesenia is going to provide some relevant information on how you could get prepared for this tax season. But before we do that, we want to learn a little bit about Yesenia. Who is Yesenia Velasquez in the entrepreneurial professional realm? So let me turn it over to Ms. Yesenia and let her share with you who she really is. Go ahead, Yesenia.
Honestly, I am blessed to be here, Paulo. Thank you. Thank you for having me, always thinking about me. I'm a big fan of yours. I met you back in like 2021 in a networking event as a, godfather of networking. So it's just amazing everything that you're doing. Thank you for the great connection. So I appreciate that. I'm honored. So who is Jessenia Velasquez? Well, I am the president and founder of SES Tax and Business Solutions here in Houston, Texas. We also work all over the United States. So what we do is we help business owners and individuals with their financial goals. And one of them is, getting those tax returns filed, bookkeeping, accounting, and making sure that they're in compliance with the state and federal level. So I started SES back in 2018. So I survived COVID. That I always say, like, that's a big thing. If you're a business owner and you survive COVID, we've done it, right? So I have 3 kids. I'm a first generation Salvadorian parent. So I am all for the Latino Hispanic community. I was that 9-year-old having to translate documents for my parents because they didn't know the language, right? So that's where everything started. Like, I just was always amazed that they would go to a tax office, go visit the same person every year and stayed there for hours waiting for their turn so their tax returns could be done, and then leaving happy because they were like, oh, I'm getting a refund, or last year's refund was more, and what happened this year, right? So I was always amazed on taxes. And that's what in 2018, actually, I got laid off. So I actually come from the medical field and got laid off. And that's what, I always say, like, God gives you the push to do things, gives you the resources and tools to do what you have to do, use you to work on his favor. So that's whenever I decided that I was going to start my business. At that time, I had already had like my licenses. I was a notary. So I was like, this is it. I mean, I got laid off from that corporate America, and it's the best decision that I took to open my business. Has it been easy? No, it hasn't. It's been hard, especially going through COVID, not knowing what's going to happen and just putting all the faith, and just showing up every day. That's my mantra. Like, I just, it's showing up every day, no matter if it's early or late. It's just, you have to keep going and show up for yourself and for your team, especially now that I have a team over 20 employees, subcontractors. So you can imagine.
Wow. Okay. Now this is very interesting, and we love talking about entrepreneurship. We love talking about people that make that transition from corporate America, as you mentioned, Yesenia, going from corporate America to making that decision to create your own business, being that entrepreneur. Now, it was sort of a forced decision because unfortunately or fortunately, like you said, you were downsized, right? You were laid
Correct.
off. We want to call it, but it was a blessing. Now, one of the things that you're saying is 2018 you start that business, that company. So you were in the medical field, but then you were also intrigued, or you love the area of taxes and just helping your community, helping the Latino community, you being Salvadorian, helping our community understand the taxation system here in this country because it's so complex, right? Now, what is very interesting that I get from your story is 2018, 2 years prior to COVID. So you not only do you make it past COVID, but nowadays, as we speak now, you mentioned 20 employees, partners, contractors, but a total of 20 people in your team. That is
That's
phenomenal.
right. That's right. Honestly, we are blessed. Not to mention as well, we do have an accounting firm in El Salvador. So in 2022, we made the connections back home. And thanks to a client, he put us in contact. That's why the power of networking and connections, right? So now we already been in business in El Salvador for a year with our accounting team. It's been a blessing. So that has helped us grow and delegate, because another thing about as a leader, as a business owner, is that we have to learn to delegate work, because in order to grow, you have to have a team. You can't do it all. Even if you try to do it, you're going to burn out. Like, let's be honest. You need a team that backs you up for you to expand. And that's what has happened to me. And I'm blessed over that.
Wow, and it's interesting why I wanted to focus on this before we go into our main topic of taxes. And the reason I want to focus on this is because you are part of that few, if I would say less than 5% of small businesses that actually make it past their first year. Because we have to be realistic. I mean, there's stats out there that says that small businesses fail within their first 5 years. I think over 50% of those businesses failed, and then of those 50% that make it past that fifth year, another 50% or even higher percentage fail. And again, it's not that these small businesses lack the knowledge, but I think it's really putting in systems, like you mentioned, putting those systems in place, because sometimes we want to be an entrepreneur, but we want to do every single thing rather than create a team, like Yesenia is saying, put those systems in place, because the reality is that your goal as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, would be to work yourself out of that business. In other words, put those systems in place where that business is going to operate regardless if you're there or not. Because if the business depends on you and that business is not going to work for you while you're gone or
sleeping
somewhere else.
I always say that your business should be able to run even if you have to go take a nap or something, but you have to duplicate yourself. A lot of people have that mentality that, oh no, I'm not going to show somebody else, the procedures or the recipe because they're going to steal it. But guess what? That person is not you. People come to you because of who you are. People come to me because Jessenia is going to be the one taking care of their income tax, their LLCs, or anything that they have to, any solutions, business solutions that they need. They come to me because we give them that trust, right? So that's something that we have to change that mindset, and also having policies and procedures in place. Like whenever I started my business, I had nothing, like no employee handbook, no training manual, policies and procedure. So I have learned, and that's one tip that I can give any entrepreneur, any business owner that's starting and they're starting to grow their team, is that you have to have training manuals. You have to have policies and procedures in place that in order, if I'm hiring a front desk person, I should be able to give her a list of things that she should be able to do. And then same thing, like let's say if a day she calls in or she gets sick for a week, somebody should be able to have a seat at her chair and know exactly the policies and procedures that take place to do her job, right? So those are the little things that you have to organize yourself and find the professionals that can help you achieve that. Because if you don't have the people that, I'm not, like, for example, I'm not a social media person. Well, guess what? I'm going to have to hire somebody that is a social media expert. I don't know how to do TikToks. I don't know how to do reels. You tell me how to build businesses, and I can help you from how to open the LLC, if you should become an S corp or not. So business language is my love language, like I tell everybody. But it's just delegating and finding those people the professionals that will help you grow and achieve your goals.
And you know what? And this was a bonus. This was truly a bonus because I mean, Yesenia is really talking about something very important that a lot of these small businesses should have. Like she mentioned, the manuals, the processes, the policies have in place. Because one thing that comes to mind is the golden arches, right? The golden arch. Who doesn't know about the golden arch? McDonald's. And we'll give them free advertisement. It's okay. But one of the things is with the golden arches, I mean, you see young people running behind those counters. And why is it that a young person could work at McDonald's? It's because they have policies, procedures, manuals, and training. So that's something very important and very key that Yesenia mentioned. So now, having said that, and giving you all that knowledge, go ahead. You have
no, and I was going to say, and then the thing is that sometimes we think our little business, mi negocio está pequeño, it's just small. But this is the moment where you can mold your business how you wanted. You wanted a receptionist that specifically says, why is it that, okay, we're talking about franchises here, but Chick-fil-A, every time they take your order is my pleasure. Why? Because they're already trained like that. So as a business owner, you should have the standards, operations, and procedures in place that you want your team to be like, right? Like even with my team, like even before tax season, I already had a tax season manual on how even to answer the phone. A free tip that I'm going to give you guys that I gave my team is that whenever you answer the phone, if you're talking to the client, the key point is that whenever you answer the phone, you should be smiling, because guess what? That client at the end of the line knows that you are smiling, and you can tell, like, even though they're not seeing you, but that changes. And if just give it a try. And if it works, you give me a call and be like, Jessenia, you were right. I changed that sales process. Now that we call leads or any prospects, we make sure to smile during that conversation, right? So those are the things that we want to make sure that, as team building, you have in place.
Wow, that's awesome. And, that's a great point. You're right. They might not see your smile, but they could sense that energy. Correct. They could sense that vibe. So yeah, that's awesome. So the next time you call somebody or you call a client or a lead, make sure you smile. Smile while you're talking to that person. And if it works, give Yesenia a call. And I'm going to share Yesenia's number here. So that's her office number. Give her a call. Give her office a call. And I've worked with Yesenia. I've networked with Yesenia and her team. I mean, they're professionals. They're there to help. And again, like she mentioned, seek out professionals. I know sometimes us Latinos, and I can say Latinos because I'm a Latino, and Yesenia's a Latina. Sometimes we want to do it all, and we want to save some money. But come on, sometimes you know what? Taxes are for tax professionals. Social media professionals. Seek a professional for that, and that's Yesenia's office number. Make sure you give her a call. Dial her number, and when you call it, smile as well, so her team can know that you're smiling as well.
I can tell if you're smiling or not. Yes.
And today's topic, this is the topic that we want to talk about. This is the topic that I least know about. This is the topic that I don't like, but I love to learn about every time, because you know what? No matter what there is, if you are doing business in the United States of America, USA, you do have a partner, and that partner is called Uncle Sam, or another word for Uncle Sam is the IRS, Internal Revenue Services. So today's topic is how to be prepared as a business owner for tax reporting season. So first and foremost, why don't we start talking a little bit about tax season? When is it? When does it start? Because I know I always hear April 15, and April 15, I think, is the last day. Tell us a little bit about tax season 2025. But what is the tax season and when does it start?
Awesome. Well, we're excited. Tax season started officially Monday, January 27th. So it's on. So great questions about the deadlines. For me, talking about deadlines with a business owner is crucial because why? This is the moments that we miss deadlines, and then we have penalties and fees. So the deadline to report 1099s, if you're a business owner and you had subcontractors that you paid more than $600 or more, you must provide a 1099, but you have to collect those W-9s and submit them by January 31st, so you can generate that 1099 and they can be sent to the IRS, to the subcontractor, and one for you as the company. That is one of the first deadlines. The other deadline is if you're a partnership or an S Corp, an S corporation, March 15th is the deadline to report those taxes. So those are business taxes. And one key thing is I'm going to tell you is that you cannot go do your personal taxes before your business taxes. No matter if you're 30% as a partnership, even if you didn't do, like income or anything like that, seek a professional, but you do need to do that business tax return before March 15th. Then we have April 15th, the famous April 15th, which is for your personal taxes. That's if you're in a partnership or a business, either you generate a Schedule C, a K1, or K1 for a partnership, you have to have that in order for you to do your personal taxes. So that's for April 15th. But usually our clients are ready for March 15th all together, business and personal, if you have received all the forms, right? So those are deadlines for this season. And remember that right now we are reporting 2024 income. And then a lot of clients have come by and they're like, well, what's going to happen because President Trump took over in 2025. Remember, we're reporting 2024 income, which President Biden was still in office. So we just have to be in the lookout of any changes that are going to happen here in 2025 with the new president, which if you follow us at SAS Tax and Business Solutions, our social media, we always try to keep up with. That's where I hire my social media team so they can come and record me and we can go ahead and provide all that updates and information. So definitely deadlines are important.
Okay, so that's great. That's great to know because I was also a little confused when we were initially talking about the tax season. So we are in 2025. Remember, 2025, like Jessenia mentioned, we're reporting income that was generated during the 2024 year, right? That's correct. And that's the calendar year. Okay, perfect. And Yesenia did mention a couple of dates. Again, if you're a business owner, if you have contractors, then it's very, very crucial and very important for you to fill those 1099s out. You have to fill them out, submit them to your contractor, and submit it to the IRS. And the deadline, like you mentioned, Yesenia, is
a couple of days.
January 31st.
Yes, wow. And if you need help, please contact us. Please seek professional help.
Absolutely. I really think in this case, if you are a small business owner and if you're in doubt, right? Because the other question, and I was going to ask you this question, Yesenia, I have people that are like, well, okay, I had somebody that did some work for me, but I paid them via Zelle. I paid them via Apple Pay. If it's like you mentioned, I think 500 or 600 or more, it's still reportable, even though they paid them through Zelle. How does that work?
Yes, that's a great question. So the thing is that we want to make sure that the accounting is in place. You as a business owner, let's say I'm paying Bob the builder because he had to come and install my whiteboard back here, plus the TVs and everything. He gets paid, let's say, $5,000 by SAS. I Zelle him the money, but guess what? In the beginning, I should obtain a W-9 form for him to fill out with his name, social security, address. Now it's time for SAS to report taxes. Well, guess what? Now I have to deduct those $5,000, but then IRS is going to be like, well, who did you pay? Now, even though I paid them with Zelle, I'm going to provide him with the 1099 because I have that W-9 with his information that I paid him those $5,000. One goes to him. one goes to IRS, and then one stays with me because that's my proof. If IRS tells me, hey, you have a deduction here of $5,000 of repairs and maintenance, who did you pay? It's like, okay, I have here Bob the builder that came by and I paid. And even if it's check, Zelle, or cash, you have to document that.
Awesome.
Does that make
Awesome.
sense? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I know a lot of people, they believe that because they sell the people the money, they don't have to report it. And even with a Stripe and even with PayPal, even with any of those payment systems, Apple Pay, I mean, there's so many ways that people are now collecting money. So again, you seek professional help. Reach out to Yesenia if you have any questions. I was going to ask you another question before I jump in to another topic relating to tax and how businesses could prepare. But my question is, let's say, for example, that individual never filled out a W-9. Let's say it's already past January 31st, and I have, let's say, January 31st, I have the 1099, but I've never collected a W-9. What can I do then?
So if you don't have the W-9, but if he gave you the information over the phone, you can still go ahead and process it. The only thing is, again, since we are not completing, we're not meeting the deadline, there is going to be a $50 penalty from IRS just for late filing that 1099.
Okay. And that's $50 for every contractor. So it might not sound like a lot of money, but if you're out there, one of these businesses that have multiple contractors, like let's say 10 contractors, $50 times 10 could become, a $500 late fee. And that's a $50 one-time fee, or does it build up for the days that they're late?
One-time fee, and then, but like you said, and we have, for example, the contractors, the developers, the construction companies that have multiple subcontractors. And this is why it's so important that, like, let's say right now you are starting your business or starting a project and you're getting all these subcontractors. As soon as they walk in your door or you get them the job, you have to have them fill out that W-9, because what happens is that then comes January, I have multiple, like, oh, I paid Jose, but then I don't know where he lives. He never gave me his address, never gave me his information. Now you're stuck paying those taxes because we don't have no way to claim that you paid that, right? That deduction. And as a business owner, you have to keep that in record, because you don't want to be, you don't want to be leaving money on the table. This is why it's so important. Like, yes, we can help you with your refund, but then also we can help you save on thousands of dollars in taxes, especially, if you're an LLC and all that. But we can go more into details about the LLC and how the startup situation stuff.
And you know what? And that's great. And that's we're going to be moving right on to the next topic that we wanted to talk about, and that is how businesses could start preparing. And you alluded already a little bit to how they could get prepared. Like you mentioned, the W-9 as a business owner, you're absolutely right. Keep a record of that. But you've mentioned to me that there's a checklist. Let's talk a little bit about that checklist. What is it that small business owners can do? I know we're coming close to that January 31st deadline, but moving forward, what is that checklist that business owners can have in order to prepare for the tax season?
Well, that is the famous P&L. And if you don't know what a P&L is, a profit and loss sheet that your business should be having. And that's another thing that I want to touch base. As a business owner, your financials are so important. It's crucial for you to know your numbers, to know how you did 2023 compared to 2024. Are you growing? What are your margins? So that is important. And if you need help with that, please let me know, because that is your foundation of your company. So for us, as SAS and our business owners, what we do is that maybe they don't have QuickBooks, maybe they didn't have an Excel sheet, or I have clients that bring their notebooks with all the deductions that they have. I love it. It's all good to have all that written, but then we have the ones that are like, what do you mean? What is an income and expense sheet? So usually what I give my clients is just a sheet, because this is kind of like, I want to call it the quick and dirty, because we want to know what your gross income is and then what were your deductions. All this is kind of like a checklist of what you can deduct. For example, you can deduct advertising. So all the money that I am investing in advertising, for example, social media, business cards, it's going to go under the advertisement category. Then we have insurance, professional fees, anything that you pay SAS as a business owner for accounting, bookkeeping, and taxes. It is actually a deduction as well. So we have the whole list of categories where you can deduct, and then that gives you what your net profit is for the business. So the net profit is the amount of income that you're left after the gross money that came in and then after the deduction. So a lot of people are like, well, how much am I going to pay in taxes? So you're paying taxes on the net profit. Another mistake that a lot of business owners do, and that's something that I spoke in the end of the 2024, is they have money in the bank account and they go in and they withdraw all that money that they have in their business account. Please don't do that, because they have this mentality, or the compadre or the neighbor told them, no, it's because you pay taxes on all that money that you have in your bank account. That's not the case. This is why we need to make numbers to see what your net profit is. That way we can, you can pay taxes on that money. And there's so many ways that we can help you as well save on your tax liability. Just because for example, if you are a DBA, and you're generating, let's say 250, don't quote me on the numbers, because every case is different, but maybe it's time now to become an S corporation for you to save on that self-employment tax. But not everybody qualifies for that S corp, and everybody's situation is different. But I'm just giving an example, right, of how we educate you and guide you for what your goals are. For example, whenever clients come right now and do their tax return, I'm like, okay, we're going to do 2024 tax return, but what is your goal for the year, right? Maybe it's purchasing a car, purchasing a rental investment property, and we want to make sure that we're not just doing your tax return, but we're also helping you achieve your goals, because that's where the educational part comes. And I'm like, okay, well, you can't write off, everything and then trying to get a loan from the bank, because the bank is not going to let you borrow that money.
Wow.
Yes.
That's that's a lot of great information you're providing, Yesenia. And one of the things that I'm also learning as you speak to our public. And one thing that's very important, I'm going to reiterate it because of that, it's that important. And one of the things, and one of the reasons why I reiterate, it's just for my own edification to make sure that I understood what Yesenia mentioned. But the checklist is crucial for you to have, and she provides her clients with the checklist. But the most important thing is what she mentioned, the profit and loss sheet, right? Profit and loss. And it's very important to do that, because you're absolutely right. A lot of people get confused on what am I going to pay? Like Yesenia mentioned, you generate income, you deduct expenses, whatever those expenses are. Again, consult a professional like Yesenia. I'm just reiterating what she said. So here's your gross income. Here's your deductions. Once you take out all your deductions, your cost of operating the business, then you have your net income. Then that's what you're going to be paying income on. So that another thing that Yesenia alluded to is, once you have paid your taxes on that net income and you save that money, I don't think the following year they're going to tax you on that saved money. But that profit and loss sheet is going to have those numbers. So consult is very important. Consult a professional, because sometimes I even heard about this, that, oh no, don't keep money in your business account, take it out. No, if you already pay taxes on that money, it's okay. You could save it. You're going to pay money on your future earnings, not on the same thing, because the IRS is not going to double tax you on the same money. So it's very important to keep track of all that. And again, seek a professional, seek someone that is an expert. Because the other thing that I want Yesenia to mention, I mean, we're getting close to the end of the program, and it's a very great program and information.
I know,
we could
time
for an
flies.
hour.
So much information.
Right. The other thing I was gonna talk about is, and she mentioned it, is about having your business established correctly. And just give us a few words of advice because I know a lot of people are especially here in the Houston area, they work as a DBA, doing business as. How important is it to set up a corporation
It
or
is
a legal
very important,
entity?
especially depending on your goals and what are your thoughts about your business. Do you think it's a little business? Do you see it growing? So for sure, whenever a client comes and they're a DBA, especially let's use, for example, a construction worker. They have a construction company, they're a DBA doing business as, they're registered in the county. Then we convert them into an LLC, a limited liability company, which it is a registered entity here in the state of Texas. That means that if somebody else in Dallas has the same name that you're trying to apply for, it's going to deny you. So it is registered in the whole state of Texas. And then second, well, first, it protects you legal from your personal assets. And then second is the way that you're going to do your taxes. So in order for you to become an S corporation, for example, you have to be an LLC or an Inc. So, and again, I'm going to repeat, this is case by case. Not everybody qualifies to be an LLC or to be an S corporation until we study your case. And then from there, we go and make sure that your accounting is in place, your bookkeeping, and that way you have everything in order that if in case of an audit, because we also help with audits with IRS, is that since you already have everything in order, it shouldn't be a problem. So whenever business owners, for example, we do have clients that we do like the monthly basis on the business bookkeeping and accounting, they're already they're relaxed because they know that we are taking care of everything. And if we have anything doubt, we see red flags or anything, we're there to specifically tell them, okay, this doesn't look good. And then the rule number one is separate your business account from your personal. Your business account is not your personal account. You can't be going to do your nails with it. You can't be traveling to Vegas with, if it's a personal expense. It is crucial that you are using your business account for your business purchases only. The way that you're gonna, if you're gonna go to a conference because you are taking some classes in Vegas, absolutely put it in your business account. But if it's personal, you cannot be mingling your money. So that is rule number one that I can tell you.
That is awesome. So that's great. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We're coming to the last. It's amazing how time flies when we're having fun.
Exactly.
And Jessenia, it's been a pleasure to have you on our show. It's great, a lot of great information, and we have only touched the iceberg of tax. There is a lot more to it. There's a lot more information, but this was just to give you a little bit of perspective on main things to look out for this tax season. And Yesenia mentioned the dates. You're going to see this live recording. We're also going to have the recording available. And again, Yesenia is a professional. She's been in the business for a couple of years now. She has a team of experts, professionals backing her up in her business. So reach out to her. Don't try to do this on your own. Believe me, I've been down that road and trying to save money. You don't save any money. If anything, you end up losing a lot of money. So your last thought, Yesenia, before we say bye. Goodbye.
Good luck to everybody. And if you guys need help saving on your taxes or looking for that refund and how you can just make sure that you have the guidance, especially if you want to invest, please let us know. We're here to help. Y hablamos español.
Awesome. Como dicen, y hablamos tu idioma. Thank you
Sí,
so much,
así es.
Yesenia. It's been a blessing having you here on our podcast. Everyone, it's been a pleasure serving each and every one of you, and we'll see you next time. So take care. Take it easy.
Ciao.
Ciao.